work in a tire and body shop.
He does. No, he does.
Since that you made such a fuss over Reggie getting that scholarship, do you think that maybe Doug feels he can't compete with Reggie in his own father's eyes? But she already enrolled in Clairview.
Oh, well, that's all right. But she doesn't have to go there.
Food now is no bueno.
Perhaps that will help with your weight.
Okay, do you ever just look at Lorraine Toussaint and think, how does she manage to keep it all together, looking flawless and powerful all the time? I mean, let's be real, this woman has been slaying roles for decades, but it's not just her acting that has people buzzing. Lorraine's story is packed with juicy drama, resilience, and a whole lot of surprises. So grab yourself a drink and settle in, because we're about to dive into the real tea of Lorraine's life, from her early struggles to her massive career wins to everything in between. Now, to start off, you might be thinking, okay, Lorraine Toussaint, what's the big deal? But you might want to think again, because this woman has lived through some serious drama, starting with her childhood. She was born on April 4th, 1960 in Trinidad, and it wasn't until 1970 will her mom bring her to Brooklyn, New York City. I mean, can you imagine being a little girl in Trinidad, waiting 2 years before your mom comes to get you? Yeah, that's how it went down.
She left me in Trinidad, as most immigrants did then, and came to America. And after 2 years, came back and got me.
Lorraine's mom, who was a pianist, had to leave Lorraine in Trinidad while she worked to make a life for them both in the States. It wasn't until after 2 years that her mom was able to bring her to America in 1970. I can't even imagine the emotional toll that separation must have taken, but it's clear that Lorraine's resilience started early. But this isn't just some sad story about a girl who grew up apart from her family. Nope, Lorraine's mother was a force in her own right, and her presence in Lorraine's life shaped the woman she became. Growing up as an only child,
Well, I was an only child, growing up for many years with my grandmother.
Lorraine didn't have the luxury of sibling support, but she made up for that with an unrelenting sense of curiosity and determination. Now, let's talk about Lorraine's name, cause this wasn't just picked randomly either. She was named after Toussaint Louverture, the Haitian revolutionary leader who fought to end slavery and free the Haitian people. So, from jump, Lorraine's name carried weight.
Slave who overthrew Napoleon's army and kicked some major in Haiti.
You could say that her destiny was written in the stars, and she definitely wasn't one to take it lightly. She's always talked about feeling like a colonized creature.
Enemy thinking and enemy behavior. And it's fear-based.
Because of her complex heritage and the deep history that's tied to her roots.
Growing up, it was very proper. I mean, when you think of Caribbean, you think of freedom and kids. No, because of the British, we were very, very proper.
Now, as Lorraine got older, she realized just how much of a fighter she was, and she knew she wasn't going to let her circumstances define her. She felt free when she got to America, not just because of the opportunities it presented, but because she could finally see a life for herself outside of the constraints of her upbringing and education in Trinidad. And speaking of freedom, let's talk about how she decided to get into acting, because trust me, that story is wild. You won't believe this, but Lorraine made the decision to pursue acting after flipping through the yellow pages and searching for acting schools. Yup, you read that right. She wasn't just scouring the internet or relying on connections. Lorraine literally went through the phone book and picked out her path. She didn't even know what was ahead, but she knew she had to try. That's boldness right there. It's no surprise that Lorraine's curiosity about herself played a huge role in her drive to become an actress.
Greatest inspiration? I think me.
She wanted to see who she was, what she could do, and where life could take her if she followed her instincts. But it's never easy, right? Lorraine had to face rejection over and over again. And let me tell you, rejection in Hollywood can be brutal. Lorraine's method of dealing with it, she would just cry it out.
I cry.
Hey, sometimes you need to release that pain before you can bounce back, and that's exactly what Lorraine did. She went through the audition process twice for certain roles, pushing herself harder than most people would. But she wasn't about to let anyone define her or tell her no for good. She kept pushing, and eventually, Lorraine's big break came with the show Any Day Now. After that, it was clear she was here to stay.
Filing this lawsuit is proof this guy hasn't changed. It's still about power and control.
Now Lorraine wasn't about to just sit back and wait for opportunities to come to her. Oh no, she was out here taking control of her career. She wasn't afraid to speak up even when it wasn't easy. For instance, imagine being told that your accent wasn't authentic enough. But Lorraine didn't back down. She defended her roots and shut that down with grace. After all, who knows better than Lorraine how her culture sounds? As if that wasn't enough, Lorraine's personal life hasn't been without its challenges either. She got married to Michael Tomlinson in 2017, but that didn't last long, because by 2019, they were done. Despite that, Lorraine's career has lasted longer than her married life, and that's a testament to her focus and dedication to her craft. She hasn't let anything hold her back from doing what she loves, but don't get it twisted, it's not like Lorraine doesn't value family. She is all about her daughter, and if you ever get a chance to hear her talk about motherhood, you'll see that she doesn't take that role lightly. But a failed marriage wasn't the only thing Lorraine had to deal with. She's been a single mom for years, and she's spoken about
motherhood is the greatest part of my life.
She's been raising her daughter while balancing an acting career. And honestly, it's inspiring. Lorraine's career may have been full of twists, but motherhood has always remained her anchor. She's been traveling with her daughter since the baby was just 3 months old. I mean, what other Hollywood mom do you know doing it like that? Speaking of love and family, there was once this wild rumor that Lorraine had 2 husbands. And I'm not talking about the real husbands you would expect, but an internet husband who wasn't actually real. Yep, you heard me right. The internet caught wind of the story and somehow turned it into a whole scandal. Lorraine herself even started to believe it at one point. She found it funny that people had this wild idea of her having a second husband, and she went along with it for a while. You can't make this stuff up, right? The internet really will create a life for you.
I have my real husband, and then I have an internet husband.
But let's talk about how Lorraine isn't afraid to be bold. She appeared nude in Orange is the New Black, a show that took risks and challenged societal norms.
What happens when someone oversteps? I will pretty much do whatever my character requires.
Lorraine was in her mid-50s at the time, and she didn't hesitate. That was her taking control of her narrative and saying, I'm not going to be confined by age or society's expectations.
You know, almost 60, and I'm brave again, so it's nice to be taking risks.
Another interesting thing is that Lorraine has consistently proven that she doesn't care about reviews or opinions. She doesn't need validation from anyone, and she's been vocal about how she doesn't read reviews of her work. I mean, after everything Lorraine's been through, who can blame her? She knows exactly who she is and doesn't need anyone telling her whether she's doing a good job. She already knows. And don't think for a second that Lorraine doesn't speak her mind.
Difficult as it has been to say no to certain things, especially early in a career, I knew that there was power in it.
She has given advice to countless aspiring actors, urging them to fire their agent if that agent isn't getting them the gigs they deserve. She told them to go out and find someone who truly believes in their potential. She even went as far as writing to a new agency and straight up telling them she would make them a lot of money if they signed her and got her the right roles. Talk about taking charge of your own destiny. But despite all the drama and the struggles, Lorraine has lived her life with a level of passion and authenticity that makes her unforgettable. She's ranked 28th on Rolling Stone's list of the 40 greatest TV villains. But you know what? She's not just remembered for being the bad guy. She's remembered for her powerful roles, her range, and her unapologetic nature. Through it all, Lorraine has held strong to her belief that life is about how passionately you've lived. She's lived with courage, purpose, and intensity. She doesn't need to be anything other than what she is. And that's why she'll always be remembered as an icon in the world of entertainment. So, what's next for Lorraine? Well, she's still doing her thing. She's got a legacy that's nowhere near over, and I can't wait to see what she does next. Whether it's a film, TV show, or another powerful role, Lorraine is showing no signs of slowing down anytime soon. And as for her net worth, oh yeah, Lorraine has a cool $2 million to her name. You don't get that by playing small. From breaking barriers to being a single mom who can balance everything, Lorraine Toussaint's story is one of strength, resilience, and pure hustle. She's not just a great actress, she's a force to be reckoned with. And that's what makes her legacy so unforgettable.